Well, good afternoon. It's 2022. Wow. Okay, here we go. I'm John Celestri. I'm also a doctor of animation. That's why I'm Dr. John. And I earned my doctorate in through my 45 plus years of professional and old school animation and comic book experience. So, for the next 30 minutes or so, the doctor is in. And let's get our little show going. So, hello. It's been a while, and sorry that I haven't had those. Haven't been doing the regular afternoon shows. The I was doing an experiment and being part of a. I guess it's a local. You'd call it, a mall, but it's a very different kind of mall here in Lexington. It was a lot of small, uh, entrepreneurs, and it's part of a regular thing that they do now as a permanent development for entrepreneurs and such. So anyway, I took part of that through the month of December, and it was a great experience. And I got to meet a lot of people, people who were doing their own. No one was doing comic books, but they were doing their own food court. They were doing their own costumes. They were doing their own bags. They were doing all sorts of things. Even a person who has their own line of perfume. But it was a really good experience, and I'm glad to have done it. And but now I'm back here, and we're going to talk a little bit about my drawing. Uh, I'm going to explain, the essence of doing expressions, facial expressions, with a very simple circle and line, and I'll show how just doing that and getting a good expression, then you could put a design on top of that. So let's see. Let's go and take a look at if anybody is around here. What am I going to do here? I'm going to look at the. No, no one's. Do I see anybody? I see like maybe there are four people, but post a comment if you want. Let's see. We're going to do all destinations. Yep. So I'm just going to post here and say hi. Are is this working? So just let me know if this goes up. Oh, okay. Okay. Snaggletooth, hi. Shram, hi. So okay, so we've got people online. If I will I will get started with this, and then we can do some a back and forth question and answers. Okay, let me uh, let me get this up and okay. So I really enjoyed the fact that I've got this thing that I can draw on here. Let me get to the let me get let me get that up. Yeah. A little more here. So let's talk about the basics. I mean, we have a up here, we have a dot or a circle, that'll be the same thing, and a line. So those are the two things I use, to create an expression. Now, I won't even put a head in, okay? Um, let's just do a simple one here. We have two lines, two circles. We're already doing something. Let's just do a mouth, and then you throw a nose in there, and then you've got an expression. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, it's cartoony, but it's still something that is it has an expression to it. It's a very definite, like kind of look to it. Um, let me just take a quick look. Hey, okay. Edge Deep says, "Hey, we can hear you." Oh, let me just. Hey, we can hear you fine. Great. Okay, let me get here this here. So we've got that kind of an expression. I'm going to do. Oh, let me just get that a bit higher. Um, just there, right there again. We've got a very straightforward, very expressive surprise. Um, I don't think that we have to, worry about doing things that are. Uh, we're doing comics, and so comics is a very expressive medium. If we're not, then we're just doing, we're doing subtle illustration. Now, some of you might want to do that, but even still, if you do a little, let's say, huh, let's just do a facial thing of, just so again, even that is subtle, and it's saying something. But that is still, it's not selling anything. That's why, to do when you're doing a comic, you're doing something illustrative like this, what's the sense of being so subtle that you can't read the expression? This is supposed to be sequential art. Could be action, it could be, a definite dialogue going back and forth, but it's in the we don't have we don't have audio with it. This is something that you're trying to stimulate the mind of the reader. So you have to give them something to work with. The dialogue is, the dialogue balloons. Well, then if that's all you're going to rely on, then why do the pictures? You know, it makes no sense not to, to just, do something. Have fun with it. Have fun with expressions. So let me try something here with this. Here we have this here by itself. Okay, I'm going to play around. I'm going to add another layer on here, and okay. Um, go to this and dropping it that all the way down here. So let's let's just move this a little bit and see what we can play with here. There we go. And that's the thing about when if you're putting something, on a using these layers, you can play with the expressions. You don't have to draw it all on the same layer. This you could play around with it as though you had pieces of paper. So here, it's not the same as doing that. We are now getting into a little more semi-realistic in terms of the kind of design you might want to use in a comic. Um, let's see. We got anybody here? Okay. Okay, we can hear you fine. Good. um, let's see here. Get me down here. So we're going to go and I'm going to do another layer here. And just for a good, even an old, the Dark Knight is always, again, here I am with doing lines. This is the old Batman. A lot of teeth clenching, um, no eyeballs. I just clean this up. Let's uh, let's work a little bit more of. Oh, now I've done a couple of Batman commercials where we didn't have any eyeballs at all. He just had the white slits. But now, instead of having the teeth clenched, I just have his teeth. Just some of you could just see the uppers. Let's see what we got here. Okay, Edge Deep. Edge Deep says, do the eyebrows usually contrast with the eye shapes, like S curves versus C curves? Well, it depends on what you want to do. Um, It's like it's straights against bends. Uh, the Let's see here. We've got let's see if you show that. Let's say if I tried doing this here just like this, then it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't. For some reason it just doesn't work. Um, well, first off, in this particular case up here, and we'll just do this with just to go as a this hair here. These are the cheeks, and that's the top of the eyes. You know, the eyebrows will go down, so it's a very different. Let me see if I can. I'll just put me up here close. Take off my eyeglasses. So here is, this is our here's my eye, the top of my eye, and then a cheek. Well, that's the only way that you'll be able to read. It's a shorthand, cheek, and then you know pushing the eyebrows down against it. There's a lot of forces against each other, and that's the important thing is contrasts to get a sometimes you have to parallel them, but maybe it's best if you don't do that. If you are doing if you're doing something like once again you've got your there's an expression right there. It's a lift, and these are all shapes. We're talking about manipulating shapes versus trying to be anatomically correct. Drawing is a shorthand, and it's showing an expressiveness that you know you may not you can't get with a realistic a subject. But even the most even even let me get back here, and let me just return to here. Look how I can bug out my eyes, do all kinds of things, and that's very much of a situation with a live action with realism. There's a difference between being stoic and being realistic, being stiff. I could do all kinds of things. It depends on the mood, the dramatics, the comedic, the comedy, the feeling of storytelling. What are you trying to say with the body? Because that's what you've got to work with in the visual mean. Now, if you're talking about writing, those are the words. They're going to describe things. But if you're talking about a visual medium, dialogue only can take it will take you so far, and then it becomes a little bit boring because you've got to listen and listen and listen, and then you have to make sure that the delivery is correct, and that you can understand what they're trying to say. And it's sometimes it's if the visuals, if the actor isn't giving the body into it, it becomes just an automatron. I don't care how expressive the visuals are, the dialogue can be, or the tone can be. If you're looking at something and you're seeing who's delivering that speech, if the person isn't engaging you and making you, in many ways, entertaining you with their visuals, you're going to turn off. And that's what happens. We're talking about comics now. So making sure that the visuals that you're portraying, even in a close up, how good and how entertaining is that expression? And that's what we're saying with, you know, when you're doing it, when you start doing a a thumbnail of the various let's say, we're we're working on this. Let me get it up here a little more. Okay, so you've got a character who is it starts with kind of like a, okay, something's happened. Oh, it's just very, just static. Nothing's going on here, and then suddenly it goes. He just like, hmm. Already there's something has happened. Maybe there's a note that comes up, and or somebody's whistling, and there's a look, and I'm only going on profile. I won't go on profile on this here, but it's when you're doing this and you go, and then you can already we've got a whole a bunch of things that are happening from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. We've got we've got a story going on here. And that's really what that's all I wanted to get into this, is that you have your dots and your eyes, your lines and your dots here. And with that, you can do any thumbnail whatsoever. And so we have here, I'm sorry, I just don't know who that is. So we're not going to go in there. Uh, Frater CR, hey yo, hi. So good to hear you. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Um, so with all of that, that's what I wanted to get across in this half hour. That is that you can lay out, you could pose, you could do everything with just these, with a simple dot and line. And once you loosen up with that, then you can start playing around with your poses. You can do your Dirk the Daring, character, or whatever. I'm not right there. Very simple, but it's selling something. It's selling an expression and a pose. And that's the important thing about what we're doing, is to make sure that you're entertaining and that you want to go and see what he's looking at, you know. And so there's that's it in a nutshell. I'm sorry if whoever shows up, I'm not I'm a little short here, but has anybody got any questions? Do you have any, type in anything? Like, I don't know using the quick yes, that's right. Edge deep, using the quick thumbnails give the essence of the performance. Yes, I do that all the time. I've been doing it ever since I started animating because in doing this in quick 15-second, 20-second sketches, you get across everything that you want to say. You know, it should be very simple, very direct. And it's not a matter of just, sitting there and standing there and just and doing a delivery. You know, in the old days, like, for TV, sometimes they would just be, you know, just s- just standing there in their, in their body there, and then all they do is raise their hand and then flap their, you know, their mouth and talk for about 10 seconds, and all they've done is raise their hand, and they blink. That's not very expressive. I mean, I've seen that, many times. So, um, let's see. Let's go to here. Do another layout here. Get you down here. So, mhm. When you're okay, so let's just think about this one. Parallel, stationary. Expressive for surprise is usually up. There's an up movement, and that is reflective in the eyeballs and the circles and the straight lines. Uh, Even when it's a smiling thing here, or a laughing, then you suddenly have, the same. But you now have just slits. Again, boiling it down. Um, See if it's a downward thing where it's very. That's a very sad expression. Again, the eyebrows are going down. It's sort of in a bowed, direction, and you're looking downwards when you're sad. Um, let's see. Anything else here? Yep. No, same thing here. Okay. Well, you'll find it's not as easy as I mean, I'm doing this from an experienced level of many years, but you once you start playing with the looseness of it, you'll find that it's not as easy to be loose. Everybody's trying to be the same, being perfect. Do not. The rule of thumb for me is how I feel, I transfer it into my fingertips here and then out my pen. And just doing that with those very simple shapes of the line and the dot or the circle gives me all it forces me to be loose. I don't have to think about anything else. I don't have to think about design. I don't have to think about structure. I just have to think of emotion. And drawing should have emotion in it. It's not you're not trying to replicate reality. That comes after you've got the emotion. You know, you put all the angst that you want into a figure, a statue, or a painting, but first get the emotion in it. And if and you'll be surprised that if you keep going further and further and further, I'm not talking about Tex Avery's tongue hanging out and body parts breaking up and flying around. Pure emotion of joy, sadness, laughter. Hit those those basic emotions and see how many you can come up with. You know, on a sheet of paper, you know, as I was showing you before. If you're able to do that, then you're going to wind up knowing the range that you can convey on paper, and then you start adding whatever design you want to, you know, and it's all design that goes on top of emotion. So um, I'm hitting it for as a 30 minute, and I'm I'm glad that you know that you came, um, and you know, let me leave some comments, you know, about what you think about the subject and what I've covered, and if you want me to go even further, you know, say that in your comments, you know, and that way I'll be able to read them and then get the feedback. So unless there's anything else, anybody else wanted to say something or ask a specific question, I'm going to be saying adios for this week. As I said, I've always wanted to keep it to about 30 minutes, and because I'm thinking that 30 minutes is as far as I can go without, you know, repeating myself or going on to a completely different topic. So, and Edge Deep says thank you, and you're very welcome. Um, I'll see you, you know, next time, and keep your pencil sharp. Then take care. Bye.